At first glance, a mountain seems simple, just a massive, immovable structure. But in truth, its form is the result of millions of years of pressure, erosion, and evolution. Layer upon layer, it tells a story of complexity and resilience hidden beneath its quiet exterior. The lazy genius archetype in storytelling is much the same. On the surface, they appear disinterested, bored, or even lazy, seemingly unshaped by the world around them. But look closer, and you'll find something extraordinary. Brilliance forged by hidden struggles, layered personalities, and a philosophy that doesn't conform to the usual idea of effort and success. These characters, the so-called lazy geniuses, captivate us not because they try too hard, but because they show us that greatness doesn't always look the way we expect. They're multi-layered, like mountains. And today, we'll explore how 4 iconic examples, Gintoki Sakata, Shunsui Kyoraku, Shikamaru Nara, and Spike Spiegel, use their unique blend of apathy and brilliance to carve their place in our hearts and minds. Because sometimes, it's not the effort you see, but the depth you don't, that defines true genius. Laziness is something we've all wrestled with at some point. It's easy to admire characters who are tireless, but the lazy genius stands out because they represent the part of us that wants to take a step back. They're not lazy because they lack ability. They're lazy because they see no value in unnecessary effort. And that's the hook. Their disinterest in conventional ambition is grounded in a sharp understanding of what's worth pursuing and what's not. It's a mindset many of us wish we could embrace, even if we're too afraid to admit it.
See? Even the narrator gets it. Work is overrated. Pass me another parfait. If avoiding unnecessary effort makes me a genius, then someone get me a medal. A small one, though.
Life's too short to spend it trying too hard, unless there's food involved. Then we'll talk.
If avoiding paperwork makes me relatable, then I'm basically a man of the people.
Being lazy isn't the problem. The problem is explaining why it's genius. What a drag.
At first glance, lazy geniuses seem like slackers, content to drift through life without much care. But that's exactly why their eventual brilliance hits so hard. It's this duality between what they appear to be and what they truly are that makes them unforgettable. When they act, their intelligence and skill often surpass those who worked tirelessly. And that's the beauty of it. Their reluctance to engage isn't a weakness, it's a deliberate choice. This element of surprise adds to their allure, turning what could have been mundane victories into moments of unforgettable brilliance.
Brilliance is overrated. I'm just doing what I have to. It's not my fault it looks cool.
Winning is about timing, not noise. I'd rather play quiet and win big.
They're just surprised because I don't brag. Modesty is another form of genius, you know.
You save your energy for the big stuff, like winning fights and, more parfaits. What's the fun in showing off early? You gotta keep things exciting, you know?
For them, laziness isn't just a trait. It's a worldview. It's the idea that not all battles are worth fighting, and not all goals are worth chasing. They don't reject hard work outright. They reject meaningless work. This approach isn't rooted in apathy, but in a profound understanding of balance. By conserving their energy for the things that matter most, they achieve a sense of clarity that others often miss. Their philosophy teaches us that sometimes doing less can actually mean achieving more. It's rooted in an acute awareness of the world and a keen understanding of what truly matters. They reject unnecessary struggle, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity.
People chase a lot of things that won't matter in the end. Me? I'd rather save my strength for what does. Call it laziness if you want.
Balance isn't about doing nothing. It's about knowing what's worth doing. Though, sometimes nothing is worth doing.
It's not about ignoring the noise. It's about hearing it all and knowing what to tune out. That's where the balance is.
There's no point burning yourself out on things that don't move the needle. Life's a chess game, not a sprint.
At the heart lies a fragile paradox. Their relaxed demeanor suggests simplicity, yet their actions often hint at something deeper: hidden pain, loss, or an unspoken understanding of life's fragility. Humor becomes their shield, deflecting attention from the cracks beneath the surface. These moments of vulnerability give their stories emotional weight, making us see them not just as clever strategists, but as deeply human. Their struggles, when revealed, resonate in ways we might not have expected.
Deep down, sure, there's depth, but it's dark down there, and I'm staying at the surface.
People think I don't care because I don't talk about the hard stuff, but some things, they're too heavy to put into words. Better to keep moving.
Emotional depth? Nah, I'm just a guy trying to pay rent, and maybe save a friend or two, if I feel like it. I've lived long enough to know how to laugh at the pain. Sometimes it's all you can do to keep standing. Besides, crying's too much work.
You learn a lot when you survive long enough. Pain, loss, they're part of the picture, but they don't get to define the whole thing.
Lazy geniuses challenge what we think makes a hero. They don't fit the mold of relentless determination or constant struggle, but that's precisely what makes them captivating. Their brilliance isn't forced or performative. It's understated and perfectly timed. In stories, they act as a counterbalance to the chaos around them, bringing clarity and calm to even the most intense moments. They remind us that greatness doesn't always shout. It often whispers, waiting for the right time to make its move.
Greatness? I wouldn't call it that. Just doing what needs to be done, when there's no one else left to do it.
Greatness isn't about standing out. It's about standing up when it matters. Anything else is just decoration.
They say timing is everything, and maybe they're right. Sometimes the quiet moments carry more weight than the loud ones.
Whispers or shouts, I don't care. All I know is sometimes you have to act before the world catches fire, or after, whichever works.
After countless years consuming media across different outlets, I've come to realize that the lazy genius archetype isn't just entertaining, it's meaningful. It speaks to our desire to simplify, to step back, and to approach life with intention. These characters may not fit the mold of traditional heroes, but their quiet brilliance leaves a lasting impact, reminding us that sometimes the most complex stories are the ones we didn't see coming. Gintoki Sakata is that paradox, a man who thrives in chaos, yet seeks simplicity. His laziness isn't just a personal trait, it's a statement against a world that thrives on unnecessary complexities. He's a man who has mastered the art of hiding depth behind absurdity. His slouching posture and lazy attitude might fool those who meet him. But his life is a tapestry of hardship and resilience. Those who've watched the show know all too well. He jokes because laughter costs less than tears. And he avoids responsibility because he's seen what happens when ideals shatter. Yet, in moments of crisis, Gintoki doesn't hesitate. It's not about heroism for him. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when no one else will. His humor, as ridiculous as it seems, is more than a coping mechanism. It's a philosophy, a refusal to let the world's darkness snuff out his light.
A philosophy? That's one way to dress up telling poop jokes. But yeah, maybe there's some truth to it. Laugh at the world, and it can't laugh at you first.
Shunsui's genius lies in his ability to embrace contradictions without losing sight of who he is. He's a man who leads from the shadows, allowing others to shine while carrying the burden of difficult decisions. His easygoing demeanor and penchant for indulgence are not signs of weakness, but tools of a seasoned leader who knows that strength comes in many forms. He carries himself like a man who has nothing to prove. He drinks under cherry blossoms, banters with his subordinates, and avoids conflict when he can. But there's a precision to his carelessness, an instinct for when to act and when to hold back. He's a man who leads by understanding, not commanding, someone who can read the battlefield as easily as he reads the emotions of those around him. Shunsui isn't loud about his brilliance. Instead, it reveals itself in subtle ways. In the way he diffuses tension, in the way he shoulders responsibility without complaint, and in the way he quietly carries the burden of every decision he makes.
Quietly carries the burden. Now that's poetic. But it's just life, isn't it? You do what you can, hope it's enough, and pour a drink for everything you couldn't fix.
For Shikamaru, simplicity is an art form. He's not flashy or loud, and he doesn't chase after recognition. While others dive headfirst into challenges, he hangs back, observing, calculating, and waiting for the right moment to act. It's not that he's disinterested. It's that he understands the value of patience. His strategies aren't just brilliant, they're efficient, designed to achieve the most with the least effort. But that simplicity belies a deep sense of loyalty and responsibility. For Shikamaru, leadership isn't about ambition, it's about protecting the people who matter to him, even if it means taking on a role he never wanted.
Leadership, huh? Funny how it always finds the last person who wants it. But yeah, I guess if someone's gotta do it, might as well be me.
Spike moves through life as if he's playing a game only he understands. His casual attitude and detached humor might suggest he doesn't care, but every move he makes hints at a deeper story. Spike doesn't fight because he wants to. He fights because he knows no other way to survive. His every action is a balancing act between who he is and who he was, between the man who laughs in the face of danger and the one haunted by the choices he can't undo. For Spike, genius isn't about planning every step. It's about adapting to the chaos of the moment, even when the weight of his past threatens to pull him under.
Adapt, huh? I like the sound of that. Though, to be honest, half the time, I'm just winging it. But hey, if it looks like I've got it all figured out, and then I must be doing something right.
These characters challenge the idea of what it means to be extraordinary. They don't announce their brilliance or demand recognition. Instead, their impact is felt in the quiet, deliberate ways they navigate their worlds. They aren't chasing perfection or heroism. They're living, adapting, and enduring. And in that, they find something far greater: authenticity. On the surface, the lazy genius archetype may appear simple, a laid-back character who hides exceptional intellect or skill beneath a veneer of indifference. But what makes this archetype resonate so deeply is the sheer complexity hidden within that simplicity. These characters aren't merely lazy, they're often deeply introspective, shaped by their unique views on life and driven by principles that run against the grain. They're the sum of contradictions, ambitious yet unmotivated, carefree yet burdened, detached yet fiercely loyal. What separates a lazy genius from mere brilliance is experience. Life has shaped their approach to the world. These characters aren't lazy because they lack discipline. They're often scarred by the cost of ambition. For Gintoki, It's the weight of past wars that taught him the futility of fighting unless it truly matters. Spike Spiegel's detachment stems from a life of betrayal and loss, making him unwilling to invest in battles that don't lead anywhere. For Shunsui, years of leadership have shown him the importance of balance. Not every fight needs to be fought. Shikamaru, though much younger, understands that life's complexity demands simplicity in thought and action. In all of them, experience isn't just a teacher. It's the forge that tempers their genius. At their core, these characters are rebels, not against society in an overt way, but against the expectations that others place on them. Their laziness is often a refusal to play by conventional rules. Shunsui's laid-back leadership style challenges the traditional ideas of what a captain should be. Spike's nonchalant attitude is a rejection of the structure and control he once lived under. Gintoki constantly mocks authority, refusing to be confined by societal norms. And Shikamaru, in his quiet way, subverts the archetype of a leader by embodying humility and practicality over grandstanding. Their rebellion isn't loud. It's woven into their everyday choices, a quiet refusal to conform to the world's expectations. Another defining layer of the lazy genius is their reluctance to embrace the spotlight. These characters are rarely interested in being the hero or the center of attention. They shine only when circumstances demand it, and even then, they don't bask in their brilliance. Spike's victories are tinged with melancholy. They feel like survival rather than triumph. Gintoki's heroic acts are often forgotten amidst his comedic antics. Shunsui's greatest achievements are born of sacrifice and responsibility, rather than glory. And Shikamaru, he steps up only because no one else can. This reluctance isn't a lack of capability. It's a sign of wisdom, an understanding that greatness isn't about being seen, but about doing what needs to be done. Perhaps the most compelling layer of the lazy genius is their humanity. For all their intelligence, they are deeply flawed, often haunted by guilt, regret, or a sense of inadequacy. Spike's disconnection from the world isn't just a quirk, it's a shield against the pain of his past. Gintoki's humor masks a profound loneliness that he rarely lets surface. Shunsui's carefree demeanor hides the scars of centuries of war and the weight of lives lost under his command. Shikamaru, despite his brilliance, carries the quiet grief of losing people he cares about and the constant pressure of being relied upon. Their humanity makes them relatable. It reminds us that even the most extraordinary minds carry burdens just like everyone else.
Flawed humanity? That's a fancy way of saying I'm just trying to get by. But yeah, I guess we're all carrying something we'd rather not talk about.
Spotlight? No thanks. It's all yours. I'll stay in the background and keep things running while everyone else enjoys the show.
A rebel, huh? More like a guy who's tired of everyone telling him what to do. But sure, let's call it rebellion. It sounds cooler.
Reluctance to shine? I'd call it knowing my limits. The more people expect from you, the harder it gets to meet their standards. Sometimes, it's just easier to stay in the shadows.
What makes this archetype so compelling isn't their intellect or skill. It's their depth. They're characters who have lived, lost, and learned. And their genius is a byproduct of their experiences, not the other way around. Through them, we see that brilliance doesn't always shine on the surface. It's often buried deep, revealed in the quiet moments that demand it. The lazy genius archetype resonates with us because it feels real. These characters aren't heroes in the traditional sense. They're messy, complicated, and often reluctant to step into the spotlight. They don't seek greatness. and yet they embody it in the moments that matter most. Their duality, the balance between their flaws and their brilliance, is a reflection of our own struggles. We see in them the same contradictions we navigate every day. The desire to rise above, tempered by the fear of failure. The wish to care deeply, dulled by the weight of past disappointments. The brilliance we know we're capable of, held back by self-doubt or apathy. They aren't perfect, and that's precisely what makes them so powerful. They have an ability to find strength in stillness and clarity in chaos. They remind us that brilliance doesn't always have to come with noise. Sometimes it's in the quiet decisions, the ones made with patience and thoughtfulness, that true genius is found. And isn't that something we all strive for? To be more than what others see on the surface, to quietly navigate the complexities of life in a way that feels true to ourselves, even if it doesn't look like the traditional mold of success. They show us that life isn't about constant effort, but about knowing when to act and when to let go. These characters exist in a space between contradiction and harmony. Gintoki's humor shields his pain, yet that pain fuels his compassion. Shunsui's carefree demeanor hides the weight of leadership, yet his kindness is never diminished by it. Shikamaru's laziness masks his brilliance. But his brilliance is only meaningful because of his sense of loyalty and responsibility. And Spike, he dances between apathy and deep emotion, navigating life as if on autopilot, yet every step he takes is laced with purpose. Their duality isn't a flaw, it's their humanity. It reminds us that we don't have to be just one thing. We're allowed to be complex, to be uncertain, and to still rise to the occasion when life demands it. These characters aren't just fictional, they're mirrors, reflecting the parts of ourselves we rarely voice. How many times have we avoided responsibility, not because we didn't care, but because we cared too much and feared we'd fall short? How often do we mask our insecurities with humor, our fears with indifference? Gintoki's wit, Shunsui's calm, Shikamaru's reluctance, and Spike's detachment. They aren't just quirks. They're coping mechanisms, the same ones we use to navigate our lives. But what sets them apart, and what inspires us, is how they rise above those struggles, not by erasing them, but by embracing them. They teach us that greatness isn't about being unflawed. It's about knowing your flaws and finding a way to move forward anyway. In the end, the lazy genius archetype is a celebration of humanity in all its messiness. These characters endure because they remind us that we don't have to be perfect to make an impact. Their genius isn't in their intellect alone. It's in their adaptability, their resilience, and their ability to find meaning even in the face of chaos. They remind us that the moments we struggle the most are often the moments that define us. They are us at our worst, our best, and everything in between. And through them, we see that being extraordinary doesn't mean standing apart from the world. It means being deeply, beautifully human. Speaking personally, that's why I love them. Not because they're unreachable, but because they feel so close. They don't follow the mold, and they don't need to. They carve their own paths, leaving me with the quiet reminder that I, too, am capable of doing the same. They're flawed, they're layered, they're me. And that's what makes them unforgettable.